Mr. Zulkarnain Abdul Rahim.
Mr. Speaker, the Infocom Media Development Authority, or IMDA, has required telecom operators to put in place measures to safeguard the interests of consumers who use telecommunication services. These measures are intended to protect all consumers, including those in the vulnerable groups. Examples include requiring telco service staff to verify consumers' identity during the registration process, explain key contractual terms and conditions to consumers at the point of sign-up, and ensure that these are understood before service sign-up. In addition to regulatory safeguards, MCI's public education programs help to ensure that Singaporeans are equipped with digital literacy skills and can safeguard themselves against online harm and threat. These include the SG Digital Officers Senior School Digital Program and the Cyber Security Agency's SG CyberSafe Seniors Program, which aim to raise seniors' awareness of cybersecurity and cybercrime and encourage the adoption of good cyber hygiene practices. The government also works with the people, private and public sectors on grounds-up initiatives under the Digital for Life movement to uplift digital literacy among vulnerable groups. Taken together, these consumer protection measures and public education programs helped to protect our population from exploitation and scams by bad actors. The public can also remain vigilant by learning to identify and avoid scams and scam tactics, such as signing up for mobile lines on behalf of strangers. All of us have a part to play in helping the more vulnerable segments of our community.
Zulkarnain Abdul Rahim.
Thank you, sir. I thank SMS Tan for the answer. Sir, my Kiat Hong resident and elderly couple came to see me during an MPS. Their 31-year-old son, intellectually disabled, was tricked to sign up for different telco lines and mobile phone contracts. Within the span of 1 week, he signed up for 4 lines and various phone contracts. The scammers made off with the phones. The family settled with tens of thousands of dollars of bills. But thanks to IMDA's swift intervention, I thank the colleagues at IMDA, they intervened and the bills were waived. My question is, given the vulnerability of individuals like elderly or intellectually disabled adults, can MCI work with telcos to train or raise awareness amongst the frontline staff to have a checklist of red flags when it comes to contracting, perhaps similar to tellers at frontline banks, so that we can prevent our vulnerable individuals and adults and elderly residents from falling prey to such scams? Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I thank the member for his supplementary question. It is always particularly heart-wrenching and upsetting when you hear about crimes and scams targeting the more vulnerable in our population, the elderlies or people with disabilities. For that particular case, I'm glad that the case was quickly dealt with by the IMDA colleagues and the telcos. And I thank Mr. Zul, the member, for commending the IMDA team on that. In fact, for this case, when the IMDA team knew about the appeal from Mr. Zul, they immediately contacted the telco staff, and within a couple of days, the telcos agreed to waive the charges or freeze the charges, and we got back to the family very soon because we know the anxieties and the concerns of the parents and the family members and of the individual himself. The case, as I understand it, had a police report being made and police investigations are ongoing. But the broader point that Mr. Zhu has raised, this is something that we are continue looking into. We will work together with our telcos, especially their frontline staff, to review their practices and whether additional staff training may be needed so that they can flag out some of these possible scams and tactics being used against the vulnerable members of our community, and see what ways can we improve. The telcos themselves, this is in their interest. They are also, in a way, a victim of this crime, defrauded by some of these scams. So it's in our collective interest to not just to minimize the risk of scams and such on such tactics against vulnerable members of the community, but to collectively take action to prevent such cases from happening. So I thank the member for his suggestion and something that we continue to review.